You know that feeling when something happens, something small, something that probably doesn't matter, and yet there's this weight in your chest that you genuinely cannot explain? Someone says something offhand at dinner. You drive past a neighborhood you used to live in. A song comes on that you haven't heard in years, and suddenly there's something happening inside you that's real, that's physical almost. But the moment you try to put it into words, it disappears, like trying to hold water in your hands. Most people just move on. They call it nostalgia, or weird, or they don't call it anything at all. They file it under feelings they'll think about later, and never do. But here's what's strange. That feeling you couldn't name, it was trying to tell you something. Your brain was registering something important, and the fact that you had no words for it didn't make it less real. It just made it invisible. Language is supposed to be how we understand ourselves. You feel something, you find the word gives it shape gives it meaning. That's the deal. But there's an enormous gap between what human beings actually experience on the inside and what language has managed to catch up with. English gives you sad, it gives you anxious, it gives you happy, and those words work fine for the obvious stuff. But the human emotional world is not obvious. It's specific, it's layered, it's strange in ways that sad was never built to hold. There's a feeling you get when you're surrounded by people and somehow feel invisible. Not lonely exactly, because you're not alone, but unseen in a way that's harder to describe than loneliness itself. There's the feeling of realizing that every stranger you pass has an entire inner world as vivid and complex as yours. Their own fears, their own memories, their own Tuesday afternoons, and that you will never know any of it. There's the particular ache of wanting something back that you didn't even realize you were losing while it was happening. None of these experiences are rare. Almost every person has felt them, and almost none of them have a word. This is where something interesting happens in the brain. When you experience something you can't name, the emotional signal is real. Your limbic system is fully activated, your body is responding, but without language to anchor it, the prefrontal cortex can't fully process it. It floats, it stays unresolved. And unresolved emotional experiences don't disappear. They drift. They come back at strange times. In the middle of a conversation, at 2 a.m, when you're doing something completely unrelated. Part of you has been carrying something you were never equipped to put down. Scientists call it emotional granularity, the ability to make fine distinctions between different emotional states. People with high emotional granularity don't just feel bad. They can identify whether they feel disappointed, embarrassed, defeated, or afraid. And the research is striking. People who can name their emotions with more precision have better mental health, recover from difficult experiences faster, and handle stress more effectively. The name isn't just a label. The act of naming is itself a form of processing. It tells the brain, I see this, I understand this, it's safe to let this move through. Which means that for every feeling you've ever had with no name, some part of you has been quietly waiting for a word that never came. There's something almost melancholy about that. You have experiences inside you right now, real, significant human experiences that you've never been able to fully look at because the language to see them with hasn't existed. Imagine spending years trying to describe a color you can see perfectly well, but nobody gave you the word for it. That's not a small thing. That's the difference between understanding your own life and living it at a slight but constant distance from yourself. The internet has done something genuinely unexpected here. Obscure emotional words from other languages have started circulating. Portuguese, Japanese, German, Danish, words for things that English never named. People encounter them and something unusual happens. They don't feel like they're learning a foreign word. They feel like they're finally being handed something that was always theirs. That recognition is immediate and almost physical. That's the thing I've been feeling. Not a vague approximation, the exact thing. That reaction tells you something real about how the mind works. The experience came first. It was always there. The word didn't create the feeling. It revealed it. It reached into the unprocessed pile and finally gave the brain something to work with. The feelings you can't describe are not the minor ones. They tend to be the quiet, persistent ones, the ones underneath everything else. The longing that doesn't attach to anything specific. The strange grief of outgrowing a version of yourself. The odd discomfort of being happy and somehow still feeling like something is missing. These feelings shape decisions, create patterns, influence who you become, and they do most of that work completely under the surface, unnamed, unexamined, quietly running in the background of your life. There is something worth sitting with in that. Not every experience needs a word to be valid. Some of what makes you human lives precisely in the space where language runs out, in the feeling that language was never quite built to hold everything you actually are. But the next time something moves inside you and you can't find the word for it, maybe don't file it away so quickly. That feeling is pointing at something real, something specific, something that belongs to you. If there's a feeling in your own life that you've never had a word for, leave it in the comments. You might find you're not the only one who's felt it.